It's our last session of our series, and I hope it has helped you to understand what it means to be a godly husband and a godly father. The last topic that we're going to dive into is how do we build a godly and biblical legacy as husbands and fathers. Now, Jesus teaches us in Matthew 7, verse 24 to 27. He says the following: "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash." Now, foundations of a godly legacy is something we all need to create and establish in our families. We need to establish strong foundations for our families. This principle resonates deeply in the context of building a godly legacy. As husbands and fathers, our first responsibility is to establish our lives on the unshakable rock of biblical principles. This involves a commitment to a personal relationship with God, a daily engagement with His Word, and a life that reflects the love and the grace of Christ. Now, just like a house needs a solid foundation to withstand storms, our families require a foundation deeply rooted in faith. Our legacy begins with our own walk with God. Let's be intentional about our time with Him, fostering a deep connection that will sustain us through the challenges of life. This foundation becomes the bedrock upon which we build a legacy that influences generations to come. Second thing we need to focus on is intentional leadership in the home. Intentionality in leadership is a concept that holds immense significance in our roles as husbands and fathers. We are called to lead our homes with purpose and direction, modeling our leadership after the selfless example set by Jesus. In the home, intentionality means being present and engaged with our wives and our children. It involves prioritizing quality time, actively listening, and expressing love consistently. Our leadership should create an environment where biblical principles are not just spoken but lived out in our daily actions. Men, we should model our leadership after Christ, who served and loved sacrificially, setting an example for us to follow within our families. The third thing is we need to nurture a spiritual formation. In the context of leaving a godly legacy, we have a role of nurturing spiritual formation within our families. As husbands and fathers, we are called to create a home environment where faith is not a compartmentalized aspect, but an integral part of our everyday lives. Engaging with our family in prayer, studying the Bible together, and having meaningful conversations about faith are crucial components of nurturing spiritual formation. Another way of doing this is found in how you live your everyday life. We need to understand that our family looks at us and our conduct. This means our family should witness the relevance of faith in navigating life's challenges, making decisions, and cultivating a God-centered perspective. See, you have to be intentional about nurturing spiritual growth within your homes, knowing that this investment yields eternal dividends. The fourth thing is we need to model grace and forgiveness. We all make mistakes, right? Now, there's a transformative power when grace and forgiveness is apparent in a person's life. Now, as husbands and fathers, we are called to model the grace we have received through Christ, extending His forgiveness and understanding to our families. You cannot create a home of harmony and safety if you don't cultivate an environment of grace and forgiveness, because this is what brings healing to relationships. Now, applying this in our homes involves creating a culture of grace, where mistakes are acknowledged, forgiveness is extended, and love prevails. By modeling grace and forgiveness, we demonstrate the transformative impact of God's love within the family unit. Let's be intentional about cultivating an atmosphere where grace abounds and forgiveness flows freely. The last one is investing in the next generation. As husbands and fathers, this principle takes on a profound meaning as we consider the legacy we are building. Investing in the next generation goes beyond providing material resources. It involves imparting a godly heritage that will shape their character and worldview. You should start with making disciples in your home before you focus elsewhere. I'd like to encourage you to be a mentor and a spiritual guide to your children, helping them navigate the complexities of life through a biblical lens. Now, by instilling values like integrity, compassion, and a deep love for God, you will contribute to a legacy that extends beyond your lifetime. You see, our investment in the next generation is not just about the present, it's about sowing seed that will bear fruit for years to come. Now, building a godly and biblical legacy as husbands and fathers is a sacred and a lifelong journey. As we navigate the complexities of family and life, let us be intentional about leaving a legacy that reflects the love and the grace of Christ. By embracing these principles, we not only fulfill our roles as husbands and fathers, but also contribute to a legacy that has the power to impact generations to come. May your and our lives be a testament of the transformative power of God's love, leaving a legacy that echoes throughout eternity. May you be blessed, and I trust fully that you will leave a legacy with your life in the years to come. Amen.